Hey guys, so no dungeon guide today. In fact, I want to look at something a bit different today compared to what I usually do, and that's just to start some small discussion or perhaps just some senseless rambling on the issue of boosting within World of Warcraft. Now, people familiar with the game will know that boosting is taking someone who is either of a lower level or of a lower ability than yourselves into your group and taking them through content that otherwise they would not be able to do. And you would think these people obviously are lesser skill, they're of lesser ability than the people who are boosting them. But what I want to have a talk about is whether or not this is actually the case. Now, people who know me will know that I run a relatively successful challenge mode group. We spent a lot of time and effort doing practice runs, a lot of gold, getting a proper equipment, leveling new characters in some cases even. And primarily I'm the one who interacts with our customers. So I'll talk to them, I'll assess what they want to play, what they want to get from us, and then arrange time and dates and get things sorted out for them. And at that point we take them into our groups. Sometimes they join voice comms with us, sometimes they don't, but usually we'll try and relay information to them just so they're on the same page as the group and they don't mess stuff up for us. Now you would think these people are buying boosts, therefore they must be incapable of doing these sort of things by themselves. But my experience so far has suggested that most of the people we take into the groups, whether it be random pugs, or in the case of the guild members that we've taken in as well, they've all been very, very capable players, and in some cases they've even kept up with the DPS in my group, who are very, very well optimized for challenge modes. And in other cases they performed even better. So you ask then, why are these players receiving boosts from us? Why don't they just go and do this stuff themselves? Surely they're capable of doing that. A lot of the issue I've run into so far when I've discussed with these people, because often they talk to me afterwards, I still have a lot of them on my battle tag, they'll tell me, I can't find players for this, nobody in my guild wants to do this, all the pugs I get into are bad, and I've tried over and over and over and I just can't get it done. So it's clear that the issue there is that these people can't get other players of equal skill to themselves into the group to perform this content they want to do. So the real concern here is, do we have to consider the ability to form group and the ability to group up with players of similar skill to yourselves as an integral part of being a good player? Or just simply just being the player who plays by themselves but thinks that they're of high skill level, they can perform things they're meant to do, they understand their class perfectly. Does that make you a good player? Perhaps in an MMO like this, where content is mostly group oriented, you could say no, it doesn't make you a good player, because you're not able to perform the social aspect, you can't get in groups. You can't do everything in yourself in this game. I mean, the highest level raiding requires 20 people. You can't go in there yourself and hope to do anything there at all, you'll just fall flat on your face. Another way of looking at it is, sure, they're a good player, they can group up with any random players throughout the world and they could achieve great things because they know how to play their class, they know fight mechanics, they know just generally what's going on in the game. Now, one good example of this I run into lately was the issue of a warrior that we boosted through challenge modes. The only dungeon he wanted was Grimrail Depot. He'd actually managed to pug the remainder of them. And he whispered me several weeks ago asking about this, and we sort of made vague plans to do stuff. And it never really went through because he continued to try and pug this run. And then a few weeks after that, he whispered me again asking if the offer was still available. And of course we had openings because it's relatively quiet on our realm, so we told him we could fit him in. And he continued to talk to me for a bit afterwards, saying how he felt embarrassed that he had to ask for a boost and it was really frustrating to him because he only had this one left and he felt like he could really do this. And it kind of struck a chord that this guy was very capable of doing this content. I mean, he was playing as a mage, he was frost spec, and he was generally pretty well geared, he was doing what he was meant to do. We did end up boosting this guy, and he was keeping up very well with us. So after seeing this guy perform so well in these dungeons, I have to ask, is he really a bad player? Simply because he can't get a group together? Or is he a good player because he can join our already pre-made group, and he can perform great things? I'd be very interested in hearing some opinions from people on whether they consider the aspect of group management and group creation to actually contribute to whether a player is considered good in the game, or whether or not they just have to simply play their character at a reasonable level, and that's all it takes. I mean, surely someone has to make the groups, someone has to organize the groups. But does that necessarily indicate that you are a better player than someone who does not do these things? So feel free to leave some thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next time with hopefully a dungeon guide if I actually bother to voice over and edit those, because they're very time consuming. Thanks for listening.